If you've been on Netflix lately, you've probably seen that true crime documentary called Lover, Stalker, Killer absolutely dominating the top 10 charts across, 40 different countries? I mean, critics gave it a flawless 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. They were calling it absolutely bizarre and chilling, and saying that even in a super crowded true crime field, it's something of a doozy. And honestly, it really is this gripping story of modern dating gone horribly wrong, filled to the brim with digital deception and legal paranoia. But, as much as our culture is totally obsessed with consuming true crime entertainment, there's a very sobering, very clinical reality behind these stories. So today, we aren't just going to recap the stories themselves. We're actually going to dive deep into the science of the danger. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're focusing on the anatomy of a stalker, digital connections, and real-world danger. We're going to track the psychological and behavioral escalation of real-life stalkers. And to do this properly, we're using an official law enforcement training memo prepared by Praxis International. It's called The Blueprint for Safety. By mapping some real, completely devastating true crime cases directly onto these official police protocols, we're going to uncover exactly how these behaviors escalate from a harmless-looking digital screen into real-world, life-threatening danger. Let's get into it. Section 1, True Crime and True Danger. Okay, let's start by pivoting from our typical fascination with digital entertainment right into the clinical reality of stalking, exactly as defined by law enforcement professionals. Looking straight at the legal definition from the Blueprint for Safety police memo, stalking is a form of repeated victimizing behavior. Now, notice how it constitutes a series of incidents rather than just one single criminal act. It's like a giant puzzle. It can actually include completely non-criminal behaviors, things like sending letters or having flowers delivered. But it crosses the line and becomes criminal when it's part of a calculated pattern that's actively designed to make the victim feel frightened, threatened, or intimidated. Ultimately, it is defined by the fear it induces. And here is exactly why taking this seriously is quite literally a matter of life and death. The official training memo drops this absolutely chilling statistic. 76%. 76% of females murdered by an intimate partner had been stalked by that offender at least once in the year prior to the murder. That is a massive number. Stalking is one of the highest indicators of lethality we have on record. So the stakes for understanding this, they really couldn't be any higher. Section 2. The digital connection. Modern stalking almost always originates online nowadays, and looking at two horrifying real-life cases from the UK perfectly illustrates just how diverse the origins of the threat can be. On one side, we've got Joshua Stimson. He met 21-year-old Molly McLaurin on the dating app Tinder. They actually dated for a few months, making him an intimate ex-partner. On the other side, we have David Heiss. He was a complete stranger living all the way over in Germany who met a young couple, Matthew Pike and Joanna, on a website forum for a tactical computer war game called Advanced Wars. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that fatal threats can come from someone you've shared a romantic, intimate relationship with just as easily as they can from a total stranger who just happened to develop a fixation over the internet. Section 3. Recognizing the red flags. So how do these dangerous obsessions actually begin? Well, according to the law enforcement training memo, early warning behaviors that signal stalking include things like unwanted visits, spreading false rumors, annoying or threatening digital messages, and just a generally high degree of obsession or jealousy. Now look at how perfectly and how tragically our two cases align with these exact bullet points. When Molly broke up with Joshua, he instantly began this campaign of public humiliation on Facebook. I'm talking spreading false rumors and literally tagging her family in posts claiming she was using cocaine. He also started just turning up uninvited to her gym and to the bars where she was hanging out. Meanwhile, David Heiss, despite being clearly told that Joanna had a boyfriend, went ahead and posted a 2-page public love letter on their gaming forum, declaring she was the first thing he thought of in the morning and the last thing at night. And then he tracked down their actual address and showed up at their apartment in Nottingham, completely uninvited. The psychological toll this takes on the victims is just immense. Matthew Pike, Joanna's boyfriend, was so intensely frustrated by David's constant online harassment and physical intrusion that he actually typed up a document called The 19 Reasons. In it, he wrote, "I hate the way you meddle. I hate you because you tracked us down and intruded on our lives." It perfectly captures how suffocating and entirely exhausting these digital and physical intrusions feel long before they ever turn violent. Section 4. Escalation and intimidation. And this brings us to the terrifying phase where the stalker's behavior crosses the line from annoying harassment to active physical tracking. Let's look at Joshua Stimpson's rapid escalation. Molly actually did the right thing. She went to the police. An officer called Joshua and gave him a verbal warning on speakerphone, and Joshua arrogantly replied right back, making it totally clear he felt he was untouchable. Next, he manipulates another girl into friending Molly on social media just to feed him her exact whereabouts. Within a 24-hour window, he tracked Molly to a pub in Chatham Docks, and the very next morning, he followed her right into her gym. He actually placed his exercise mat right next to hers in an eerily quiet room. Just terrifying. David Heiss's physical escalation was just as intense. After finally being blocked by the other gamers on the forum, which, by the way, shattered his entire online world, he borrowed his uncle's car and drove non-stop from Germany to the UK. He was so incredibly sleep-deprived that he actually crashed his car into a ditch on the M11, nearly killing himself. But even a near-fatal car accident couldn't break this cross-border obsession. Matthew and Joanna ended up confronting him in an Arboretum park, demanding he stay out of their lives for good. He agreed, he went back to Germany, but then secretly returned just a single month later.
Section 5. The Tragic Climax.
We have to shift now to the devastating, fatal culmination of these two cases. It's a really stark reminder of the absolute gravity of ignoring lethality indicators. The crucial point in the Praxis International training memo focuses on what law enforcement is explicitly trained to look out for, specific factors which suggest high risk to a victim. And among the highest, a high degree of obsession, possessiveness, and jealousy, combined with a demonstration of having little to no concern for the consequences of arrest and jail time. Both Joshua and David exhibited extreme obsession. Both of them were warned by police or confronted directly, and both completely ignored those consequences, just relentlessly pushing forward. On the morning of June 29, 2017, Molly McLaren texted her friend from the gym. She was absolutely terrified because Joshua had shown up again. Her friend immediately told her to leave. As Molly got out to her car just after 11 a.m., totally oblivious to the fact that Joshua had been driving around the car park, just lying in wait for her, he jumped into her car and viciously stabbed her 75 times. He had actually purchased a knife and a pickaxe just days prior. And on September 19, 2008, David Heiss arrived at Matthew and Joanna's flat while Joanna was away at work. When Matthew opened the door, Heiss launched a frenzied attack, stabbing the 20-year-old 86 times. In an act of incredible, just heartbreaking bravery, as Matthew lay dying on the floor, he somehow managed to write the letters D and A on his computer monitor using his own blood. It was a final, desperate clue to detectives to point them straight toward his killer, David. Now, both of these stalkers were eventually caught and sentenced to life in prison, but two bright, very young lives were already lost.
Section 6. A Blueprint for Safety.
So to build our defense against this, we really need to look at the official blueprint for safety prepared by Praxis International. It strongly emphasizes that stalking cases can appear pretty insignificant at first, It might just look like a few annoying phone calls or some odd messages online, but taking structured, decisive action early can literally save lives. If you or someone you know is ever experiencing this, the police protocol outlines some very critical steps. Number 1, keep a stalking log. Document every single incident, the exact date, the time, and write down how it affected you. Second, save all voicemails, texts, and emails. Whatever you do, do not hit delete. You absolutely must collect hard, tangible evidence before the stalker has a chance to destroy it. And third, inform your neighbors, your family members, and your coworkers. Give them a physical description of the person and their vehicle so they can act as your eyes and ears. Do not keep this a secret. And you have to constantly watch out for those lethality factors we discussed. Has the person made past threats? Have they threatened suicide? Remember, David Heiss explicitly threatened suicide if Joanna didn't want him in her life. Do they have easy access to weapons? Do they show a total disregard for the law or for police warnings, exactly like Joshua Stimpson did? Let me be clear, these aren't just red flags anymore. These are screaming sirens predicting deadly behavior. Which brings us to our final thought today. Molly posted a photo of her location at a bar, totally unwittingly giving her stalker her exact coordinates. Matthew and Joanna ran a gaming forum, unwittingly inviting a highly dangerous obsession right into their living room. We live in this incredibly connected digital world, but we really have to understand the protocols for when that connection turns toxic. So I want to leave you with this. In an age where we instantly share our lives, our exact locations, and our intimate thoughts online, how well do you really know the strangers watching your updates? Stay vigilant, stay safe, and thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.